Hello everyone, I'm Nachi, and today we're going to take a look at the best Pokemon cards in the standard format. So if you play Pokemon TCG as of November 2020, these are the cards that you're going to be seeing running around, making up most of the decks that you're going to be facing. And so these cards range from Team Up until Vivid Voltage, and I do want to go over some of the Vivid Voltage cards. Some of these, are not that great, but I do want to just go over them since we are coming out with a new set, Vivid Voltage. And it's going to be the last set of 2020, so I do want to go over those cards. And I know it's kind of hard to compare Pokemon to supporters and supporters to items, but we're going to try to rank them on a tier maker, tier list that I have here. And let's see if we can do it. We're not going to go over deck lists, really. A lot of the Pokemon that you see here are support Pokemon, or they're going to be treated as support Pokemon as I'm ranking them on the tier list. So we're not going to talk about archetypes and it's a turn is better than ADPZ. We're going to just specifically talk about the card itself and how much impact it has on the game. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, let me know if you think I'm wrong, and yeah, if you can subscribe, that'd be great, because I am trying to build this YouTube channel. This is my third video, but I really like Pokemon and I want to, build a community around this channel. So yeah, let's just hop into it. Alright, starting off, let's put Dedenne in S tier. I think Dedenne is clearly our best support Pokemon that we have right now, allowing you to discard your hand and draw 6 cards. It's pretty remarkable that we have that ability in this game to just discard our hand and see 6 fresh cards so easily. It does come at a price, a 2-prizer, but it's not too bad. Then we got Crowbar. I'm going to put Crowbar behind Dedenne. I think Dedenne is a little bit better just because you discard your hand and you'll always see 6 cards afterwards. Crowbar, you draw until you have 6 cards, and that could be helpful if you don't want to discard a card, but in Pokemon you do play out of your discard pile a lot. So it doesn't really hurt to discard your cards as much as you think it would, with things like Metal Saucer that allows you to take energy out of the discard pile, or same with a Turbo Patch. So it's really not too bad if we discard cards from our hand. And then I'm going to put Jirachi in A tier. And I think had a skateboard not rotated out, I think Jirachi would still be in S tier. But we're not seeing a lot of Jirachi builds, a lot of Jirachi engines being run in a lot of deck builds now. And that's clearly because the skateboard's gone. So now when we Stellar Wish, we fall asleep and we have to switch out the active, or we have to scoop up net it. And it's just not as easy as when you just attach a tool and you're able to retreat so easily with the skateboard. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. And then we got Jirachi, the Amazing Rare from Vivid Voltage. I think for now I'm gonna put that in B tier. I think Jirachi with Stellar Wish abilities a little bit better for sure. But I don't think we should underestimate how good this new Jirachi could be. The good thing about this is that it doesn't fall asleep when you use its ability. So its ability allows you to see the top 2 cards of your deck, pick one and put the other one back on top of your deck. And then you can use U-turn board to retreat, or you can use switch or scoop net again. But you're not looking very far into your deck. You're only looking at the top 2 cards. I don't know. It doesn't feel as powerful as looking at the top 5 cards. Although you do get to pick any card. You don't have to pick a trainer, unlike Stellar Wish from Team Up. Alright, next let's talk about the new Talonflame from Vivid Voltage. I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of a support Pokemon. So I'm just going to mostly talk about its first attack. Its first attack allows you to discard your hand and draw 6 cards. But the good thing is that you get to use it if you go first. So normally you can't attack when you go first, but the new Talonflame allows you to use its first attack if you go first. So it's pretty good. I think one of the downfalls is that you don't get to see those cards that turn, in the same way that you get to see those cards that you draw with the Dedenne, Crowbat, and the other 2 Jirachis. You have to see them next turn, so if they Marnie you, then you just lose all the cards that you just discarded your hand for. So I think this is probably like a B tier Pokemon. It's got free retreat, which is pretty nice. I'm gonna put it behind the Vivid Voltage Jirachi for now, but I don't know. I don't think that it's better than these other support Pokemon that we got going. And then we got Zasian. I think Zasian is probably S tier, or sorry, A tier. And I'm talking about Zasian mostly just as like a support Pokemon again. So mostly for his Intrepid Sword ability, allowing you to end your turn but draw 3 cards. And if it's a Metal Energy, you can attach it to Zasian. So Zasian's really good in like control and mill decks where you're not attacking every turn and you just want to keep drawing cards at the end of your turn. I think Zasian's pretty much a must-have in those types of decks. And yeah, I think it's right up there with Jirachi. Maybe a little slightly worse than Jirachi. I think Jirachi's a little bit more versatile, but I definitely really like Zasian as a support Pokemon. And I think Zasian is just so good as a support Pokemon. If you look at a lot of Lucario and Melmetal decks, they don't even run support Pokemon because they have Zasian. Zasian is a support Pokemon, allowing you to draw 3 cards. So I don't know, it's kind of crazy. Like imagine if the Dene had like an ability to attack for 230 damage as well, then I know electric decks would be way better as well. So, but just as a support Pokemon, Zasian's really good. I'm going to put him in the A tier for now. Alright, the next card we have is Cramer Ant V. I think I'm going to put him in the C tier for now. He does have the Spit Shot for 3 energies, allowing you to do 160 to a benched Pokemon, allowing you to kill the Dene. But it's pretty hard to get those 3 energies unless you play Welder, so it's kind of only useful in Welder decks. And the Beat Catch it's all right. You get to search your deck for 2 cards, but again, you'll have to wait for next turn to use them. So I don't know. I think it's probably a C tier support Pokemon. I'll probably put Double in there as well. So we're not talking about archetypes again. We're just talking as a support Pokemon. I think Double is really good late game, but other than that, he's not very good in the early game, obviously, because his attack scales as your opponent has taken more prize cards. So I think he's right up there with I think he's right next to Cramer. I think Cramer Ant's a little bit better as a support Pokemon. So, and then we got Aldegas. I think Aldegas is probably let's put it in A tier for now. I think Aldegas is pretty good, allowing you to pick a supporter card from your discard pile and put it in your hand. Very good for picking up just like a boss's orders or a Welder if you're playing a Welder deck. So very good. It's not good that it's a 2-prizer and sometimes you start in the active. That's kind of the reason why I oppose using Aldegas at times, just because I don't like having that liability. So I'm going to put it in the A tier for now. It could also be in a B tier. Let's just put it at the top of B tier, actually. I think that's a little bit more accurate. Alright, the next Pokemon we got is Absol. I think Absol is probably D tier for now. Its ability does give your opponents a basic Pokemon 1 extra colorless retreat cost, but I think we're seeing a lot less basics now. We're seeing less tag teams and a lot more VMAXs, so I definitely think it's gotten a little bit worse, and people are just pretty much running Switch all the time, and we have Dark City that just cuts your retreat cost to zero. So I think Absol for now is probably a D tier. And Marshadow. Marshadow's only real reason to play him is to stop the Chaotic Swell, and I don't know. I feel like Thunder Mountain was kind of the main reason to stop Chaotic Swell, and just Prism Star stadiums in general, because all the other stadiums, if you're playing like 4 copies of or 3 copies of, then you don't mind just burning the Chaotic Swell with one of your stadiums. So I don't know, I think it's like a D tier now. It's not as powerful as it used to be, because Pika Rom's gone. And then we got Mewtwo with its Mind Report ability, allowing you to pick a supporter card from the discard pile and put it on top of your deck. I think that's probably a C tier for now. It is good that it's kind of like Aldegas, but I think it's just slightly worse because you have to put it on the top of your deck. And you don't get the supporter card immediately. So, but it is good that it's a 1-prizer and you can use Scoop Up Net to use it multiple turns per game, or multiple times per game. But I think it is worse than Aldegas. All right, the next card we want to talk about is Zigzagoon, allowing you to place 10 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon when you put it up from your hand to your bench. I think this card is probably gonna put it right under Aldegas. I think it's a very versatile card. It's pretty much our main way to do damage modification, other than something like Vitality Band. So I think it's B tier. I think it's a pretty good card, pretty solid card. You can pretty much put it in any deck, and it's pretty good. And if you run Scuba Nets, then it gets exponentially better. Then we have a Rangaroo. I think a Rangaroo would probably be... I think it's better than Talonflame, right? Maybe worse than this new Jirachi. Or better than that new Jirachi. It's probably around the same level as Zigzagoon. It's a very versatile card. It can be used in a lot of different decks with its Primate Wisdom ability, allowing you to swap a card from your hand for the top card of your deck. It combos well with a lot of other cards, like Zasian's Intrepid Sword, Metal Saucer. So it's a pretty good card. I'll put it in B tier for now. And then we've got Oricorio. I think Oricorio would probably be... Is it better than the new Talonflame? I feel like it is. And maybe the new Talonflame is actually in C tier. But I think... Yeah, I think Oricorio is probably better than the new Talonflame, allowing you to draw 3 cards when one of your Pokemon dies. It's really good in one-prizer decks. So I think that's why I think it belongs in B tier. And then we got Giratina. That allows you to remove one of your opponent's special energy from its active Pokemon when you put this from your hand to your bench. I think this card's actually going to get way better. Once every deck is going to start running special energy. So I think Giratina is pretty much going to be a staple in a lot of decks. I think it could even be better than Zigzagoon. Or right up there with Zigzagoon. Yeah, let's put it right there. Then we got Fiona. Pretty much gusts your opponent, but your opponent gets to choose which Pokemon they send out. It has applications. But I'd probably say it's either the end of C tier or the beginning of D tier. I'm gonna say the end of C tier for now. And then we got ADP. So I'm talking about ADP as just a support Pokemon, not as the archetype with Zasian. So like imagine if you just put ADP in, you know, any other deck other than Zasian, how would it fare? Honestly, don't think too well. I don't really know. I can't really think of any other ADP deck other than Zasian that's really that competitive. So I don't see it as a super versatile card. And the energy is pretty costly. I think it would have to be like a D tier actually. But I have weird opinions about ADP. I think ADP is not the problem. People are saying like ban ADP, but I actually think Zasian is the problem. Because ADP Z is really good. But if you get rid of ADP, Zasian still really good with Lucario and Melmetal. ADP is really good, but if you get rid of Zasian, then ADP is not really good with any other Pokemon. So I'm gonna put it in D tier. Could even be the end of D tier. Yeah, let's go with that for now. All right, the last card I want to talk about is the new Snorlax from Vivid Voltage. Its ability, if it's in the active spot, allows you to draw until you have 7 cards in your hand, and then your turn ends. It has 3 energies to retreat though, which is its main problem. It can't retreat with U-turn board or air balloon, so you pretty much just have to scoop it up or switch. But it's kind of similar to Talonflame, but is it better than Talonflame? I actually do think it's slightly better than Talonflame. I think it's slightly better than Talonflame. You get to draw up until you have 7 cards. Yeah, I think it's slightly better because it's just a one-prizer. It doesn't have free retreat like Talonflame, and it might be a little tricky to get out the active, but if you're already playing a lot of Scuba Nets and switches, and it might be alright. Alright, let's talk about supporters now. So we're going to start off with Boss's Orders. I think Boss's Orders is clearly an S tier. It's just like one of the best cards in the format right now, allowing you to gust up your opponent. So if your opponent runs away and they've already damaged and you want to kill them, just gust them up with Boss's Orders. I think Professor's Research is probably an A tier. It's not as good as Boss's Orders. I think I'd rather have Boss's Orders in my deck. I think you have to have Boss's Orders in pretty much every deck. I don't think you have to have Professor's Research in every deck. Could even be a B tier. But let's put it in A tier for now. And then I'll put Marnie right up there with Professor's Research. I think they pretty much go hand in hand. And they're pretty interchangeable. It just depends if you want to discard your hand, if you want to shuffle your hand into your deck and disrupt your opponent at the same time. Alright, we're gonna talk about green's exploration. I think that's probably like somewhere in the C tier. We'll put it at the end of C tier for now. I think you can't play supporter on your first turn anymore, so it definitely got nerfed by that. And I think Pokemon TCG has shifted to using a lot of support Pokemon and a lot of ability Pokemon to dig through your deck and find stuff you need. And it's only going to keep getting that way with new Pokemon that are going to come out. So I think green's exploration it just has very limited use. You really have to not have any ability Pokemon and build your deck around not having any ability Pokemon. So yeah, and it's also just super hard to like be like super tactical with green's exploration. You have to be like, I don't know. It's really hard to use green's exploration and know which cards to pick every turn. Then we got Piers, allowing you to search your deck for a dark Pokemon and an energy card. I think this is probably D tier. It's good that you get to find a dark Pokemon. You can find Crobat, and then it says energy card, not basic energy cards. So you can get a special energy, but it's kind of a lot to use a supporter for the turn for those two things. A quick ball can also find a Crobat, so it's probably better to just do that. And then we got Erica's Hospitality, kind of the other draw supporter that's besides Professor's Research and Marnie. I just don't think it's that good. It's probably in the C tier as well. You have to have less than 4 cards, and then you can only draw cards that's equal to the amount of Pokemon your opponent has in play. Could be good against a Eternatus, but I just don't see it being used that much. And then we have Welder. Welder you can't play in every single deck, but I did want to talk about it because I think it has such a strong grip on building fire decks. I think you can't really build a fire deck without Welder. Welder is pretty much the main way to build fire decks. So I think it's an A tier. If you play Welder in your fire decks, and sometimes you don't have to play Professor's Research or Marnie, so I think it's right up there with these other two draw supporters. You get Accelerate Energy, you get to see 3 cards. It's pretty good. And then we have Bird Keeper, allowing you to switch out and draw 3 cards. I think that's probably C tier. Yeah, it's just mediocre. It's all right. Cynthia and Caitlin, allowing you to take a supporter from your discard pile and put in your hand and draw 3 cards. Very similar to Bird Keeper actually. So I'm gonna put them right next to each other. Then we have Red's Challenge. It's probably a D. It's kind of like Green's Exploration, but worse because you only get to find 1 card. You have to discard 2 cards from your hand. But if you're playing a lot of item cards, it might be good to have a Red's Challenge so you can find a specific item card that you need. But it's probably D tier for now. And then Mallow and Lana, I think it's probably B tier right now because we have a lot of VMAXs. A lot of Pokemon are taking 2-hit KOs. There's not a lot of one-hit KOs in the game right now, since everyone has gigantic HP and most Pokemon are maxing out like 270 damage in their attacks. So yeah, healing's really important. Healing's really good. I think Mallow and Lana is probably B tier. Alright, then we got a new card from Vivid Voltage. We got 3 new cards. I'm going to talk about Leon, Nessa, and B. I think Leon is probably D tier. Doing 30 damage is good, but I think it's just going to be too hard to find when you really need to do that extra 30 damage. I think Nessa is probably worse than Piers. It's not going to be the Welder of water decks by any stretch of the imagination, so I think it's alright. But yeah, I don't think it's that strong of a card. And I think B is probably maybe... Is it better than Nessa or is it worse than Nessa? It's pretty much like End's Resolve though, isn't it? It's pretty much just the End's Resolve of fighting decks. So I don't think it's going to be that powerful either. I might put it above Nessa actually. It might give a nice little boost to fighting decks. So yeah, and then we got Guzman Hala. I think it's also kind of fallen off. It was really good in Pikarom decks, but now that we don't have Thunder Mountain, now that we don't really see Pikarom anymore, I feel like it's not really that important to find a stadium and a tool. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in the D tier. I mean, it's probably still better than Red's Challenge though, right? So let's put it somewhere like that. Yeah, and so those are all the supporters and all the support Pokemon now. So we can get into the item cards. Okay, starting off the items, we got Big Charm. I think Big Charm's probably B tier. Gives your Pokemon unconditionally 30 more HP, which is really good. And It's definitely better than Cape of Toughness, so I think Cape of Toughness would probably be C. The good thing about Big Charm is you can use it on VMAX, of course, and GX Pokemon, so I think Big Charms are still better than Cape of Toughness. And we've got Air Balloon. Air Balloon is probably B tier. There's a lot of Pokemon, it feels like, with 2 retreat cost or 1 or 2 retreat cost. So Air Balloon's pretty good. It's definitely better than U-Turn Board, so I think U-Turn Board would also be like C tier. Could even be D tier, honestly. Let's put in D tier for now. I think Air Balloon's clearly better than U-Turn Board because there's more Pokemon with 2 energy retreat costs than 1. Of course, U-Turn Board, you gotta put it back in your hand when it gets discarded from play, but it might get better when the new Jirachi comes out. But I think for now, it's probably D tier. Next up, we have Vitality Band. I think Vitality Band's probably a C tier item. I feel like it was better with the tag team Pokemons. But now it just feels like 10 damage doesn't really do too much. And then you have Zigzagoon. I feel like Zigzagoon's better than Vitality Band. And then you have Giant Bomb. That's probably D tier. It's just hard to find Giant Bomb when you really need it. And then your opponent can sort of play around Giant Bomb. So yeah, Giant Bomb only works for 1 turn. So there's not really any other item card I can think of that only works for 1 turn. Okay, next up we have Memory Capsule. That's probably a D tier. It's going to have some applications. I think it's going to be good with Cramer Ant V Max. So you can use Spit Shot as a V Max Pokemon. I think it'll be good with like Donphan, but I don't know. We didn't really see Memory energy do too much. So I know this is definitely better because you don't have to waste your energy attachment for the turn, but it's probably a D tier. And then we have Telephoto Scope. That seems very similar to Vitality Band, allowing you to do 30 more damage to Pokemon V and GX when you hit them from the when you hit them on the bench. So very similar to Vitality Band. I think it's gonna have some applications for some stuff like Cramer Ant when you're spit shotting. You can now kill Crobat. Could be good with Inteleon and stuff, but yeah, it's probably like a C tier. Then we have Hero's Bath. I think Hero's Bath is actually really good. It's gonna make ADPZ just way better. It's probably an B tier. I'm gonna say it's a B tier. It's also from Vivid Voltage. It allows your basic Pokemon to take 20 less damage. In ADPZ decks, you only run basic Pokemon, Zasian V and ADP, and sometimes Duraludon, Mawile. So I think Hero's Bath is gonna be really good. It's gonna make ADPZ even better, and we definitely don't need ADPZ to get better. So I'm gonna put that in the B tier. I should also mention that Zasian and Lucario and Melmetal are going to be way better too, because now they have Metal Goggles and they have Hero's Bath and they have Lucario's GX attack, so they're going to have a lot of damage reduction for them. Alright, now we're starting with the item cards. We got Cherish Ball, definitely a lot less GX Pokemon in our game, since we have VMAX Pokemon and tag teams are not really ruling the format anymore. So this is probably like a C in the C tier. It's still good. It helps you find a Dene. Helps you find your GX Pokemon if you're playing tag team still, or other GX Pokemon. But definitely not as good as Quick Ball. I think Quick Ball is clearly S tier. It's pretty much our best Pokemon finder right now, allowing us to discard a card from our hand and getting a basic Pokemon. And like I said before, in Pokemon you play out of your discard pile a lot, so discarding a card from your hand is really not that bad. And Quick Ball is pretty much a 4 of in every deck. So it's definitely in an S tier. It's definitely in the S tier. And then I think Crushing Hammer is actually could be S tier as well, or maybe I'm gonna put that in A tier. I think Crushing Hammer is just really good right now. The metagame is we have matches where we're only lasting like 4 to 5, sometimes 6 turns, and Crushing Hammers landing 1 heads sets your opponent back a turn. So that's like 20% or 25% of their game that you're setting your opponent back on. So I think Crushing Hammers is really good. I think everyone's running Crushing Hammers now. And if you're not running Crushing Hammers and you're running something that allows you to combat Crushing Hammers, like Welder decks don't really have to worry too much about Crushing Hammers, but every other deck pretty much has to worry about Crushing Hammers. And yeah, Crushing Hammers is just really good right now. I definitely think it's an A tier. I was tempted to put it in C tier, but I don't know if it's a 4 of in every single deck in the same way that Quick Ball and Boss's Order seem to be. So we'll put it in the A tier for now. We got Energy Spinner. Energy Spinner is probably I mean, it's pretty much the only it's pretty much the only trainer card that we have to find energy, or the only item cards that we had to find energy. So it can be good in like greens decks if you need to find energy off of greens. It's probably like a C tier. It's good in ADPZ. I don't know. It just seems like it has limited use right now, but that could change. And then energy switch is probably around the same. It's probably very similar. Energy switch is also good in ADPZ decks, but it doesn't really see much play in any other decks too much compared to like ADPZ, where it's like in literally every ADPZ deck. It was good in Pikarom decks, but Pikarom kind of has fallen off, so yeah, I think it's probably like a C tier. And then evolution and sense. It's the only way to find evolution Pokemon now, other than Pokécom. So, would this be B or would this be C? It'd probably be C tier, but it's definitely, I feel like it's above Cherish Ball though, right? Is it above Cherish Ball? Well, it's right there. I don't know if I'm gonna care about the order too much. Yeah, we need to find our evolution Pokemon. We don't have Ultra Ball anymore, so I'll put it right there. Great Ball, I think it's probably worse than Cherish Ball and worse than evolution and sense. It's good in Eternatus VMAX decks when you have a lot of Pokemon in your deck, but yeah, I think it's worse than Cherish Ball. And then we got a Great Catcher. We're not seeing as many GX Pokemon these days, so it could probably be, I don't know, but it also might be B tier. No, probably like a C tier. Yeah, it's probably in the C tier somewhere. It can still get Dedenne, which is good. And a lot of people still run Dedenne, but yeah, we're not really seeing as many tag teams, so definitely not as good. I wonder if they're going to make, once VMAX Pokemon start seeing their way out, if they're going to make a Great Catcher for like V or VMAX Pokemon, to nerf those Pokemon and kind of make the new Pokemon a lot better. I feel like that's why Pokemon put Great Catcher in, so they can make GX Pokemon worse, and then you have more incentive to buy the new V cards. Then we got Ordinary Rod. Where should I put Ordinary Rod at? Seems pretty ordinary. I would say it's pretty C. It's a pretty average card. Same with Palpad. Pokegear. I feel like that's B. It's good in Welder decks. I think Pokegear is kind of underrated, especially now that we have Crobat. I think Pokegear is good to thin your hand down before you use Dark Asset. So I think Pokegear is underrated right now. I made a video with the Eternatus VMAX and Crobats and Pokegear, so check that out if you're curious. Then we got Pokemon Catcher. I feel like Pokemon Catcher is also kind of underrated. It's kind of like Custom Catcher in that if you have 2, your expected value is 1 Gust. It's the same way that Custom Catcher is, but of course Custom Catcher, you were able to have that perk where you could like drop until you had 3 cards in your hand. But I don't know, I feel like Pokemon Catcher is a little bit underrated as well. I think it's pretty good in Welder decks when you don't want to use your supporter for the turn and you still want a Gust. Yeah, I'm going to put it in the B tier for now. Then we got Pokemon Communication. I think Pokemon Communication, that's a solid B tier type card right there. That's kind of the quintessential B tier card. It seems just perfectly above average. Perfectly above average. So I'm going to put that in the B tier. Reset Stamp. That's got to be the end of B tier. Maybe it might even be in C tier. But we'll put that at the end of B tier. I think Reset Stamp has gotten a lot worse. I think before Marnie, I feel like Reset Stamp was like an A tier. I feel like there's so many like win conditions where like if you drew Reset Stamp, like you would increase your chances of winning the game like tenfold. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's happening anymore. It really is not good when you find Reset Stamp in the early game, and it's pretty much just like a useless card. So I feel like a lot more people are building decks to be more consistent, and drawing Reset Stamp in the early turns is just, it's just not good. And then we have Marnie now, so you can still get hand disruption, and you can also draw cards. And I don't know, Marnie is just way better than Reset Stamp. I feel like I've switched out all my Reset Stamps for Marnies. So yeah, Reset Stamp is definitely, its stock has definitely gone down. And then we got Scope Net, allowing you to pick up a Pokemon card that's non-V or non-GX, put it back into your hand. I think that's probably B tier. I think Scope Net's only going to get better as we get more cards that you'll want to scoop up. So I'll put in the B tier. Switch, that's probably A tier. I feel like you can run 4 of those in any deck. Could also be A tier, but I feel comfortable keeping it in A tier. I maybe even, it's definitely above Crushing Hammer though, right? Tag Call, I would say Tag Call is probably like, probably C tier now. It could be good in ADPZ, but I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot of good tag team supporters anymore, and not a lot of good tag team Pokemon, so I think Tag Call is like in the C. If I want to be picky, maybe put it up, like it'd be upper C, but I feel comfortable putting in C. Tag Switch, that's probably D. It was good in Pikarom, but now it just doesn't really see much play. Tool Scrapper, I would put that in C. I think Tool Scrapper is good. A lot of people are playing tools, but it feels really bad when you get in the beginning of the game and you can't use it and it's just like a dead card. So I'm gonna put it in C. And then finally we have Turbo Patch. I think I'm gonna put Turbo Patch. I'm gonna put that in C tier as well. I think people were like, oh, is this gonna be like Crushing Hammer, but like in reverse? But I feel like it's not that. I feel like for some reason getting rid of your opponent's energy is better than increasing your energy or accelerating your energy for some reason. And also it has the caveat where you can't use it on a GX Pokemon, and it has to be a basic Pokemon. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's not as good as we thought it was going to be. So I think it's probably like C tier. Yeah, that's my list so far. Let me see if I want to edit anything. All right, I think I'm going to make a few minor adjustments. I think maybe I overhyped Hero's Bath a little bit too much. I'll put that in C tier. And then I'll probably put Evolution Incense and Cherish Ball in B tier. Could even put should I put Great Catcher in B tier? It's the end of B tier. Let's put it in the end of B tier. And I feel like that's pretty accurate. I don't know. I might want to put ADP into C tier or something. I feel like that's going to make a lot of people mad. But again, I don't know. I don't feel like ADP is that dangerous without Zasian, so I'll put in C, and well, I don't know. I'll be nice to ADP. But yeah, that's pretty much it right there. This is what I think are the best cards in the format, and I'm kind of just ranked them. Again, it's kind of hard to compare Pokemon to supporters and supporters to item cards, but I did my best, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you agree with some of the things I said, and you disagree with some of the things I said, and yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and if you like the video, then like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build this YouTube page from the ground up. This is my 3rd video. And you can follow me at twitch.tv/Nachi, where I stream on the weekends, and I'll be ramping up my streaming schedule as I get a bigger following. But yeah, there it is. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.